Thank you for joining us for this next video in our Cedar hot tub video series. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the floor, the materials that we're using, how we're laying that out, and how we'll make the cuts. So let's talk a little bit about the material. Alright, so what we chose to use for our floor is 1x6 V-groove tongue and groove cedar. The reason that we chose to use this 1x6 tongue and groove, in fact I think it's actually a 3/4 by 6 tongue and groove with a one side finish, is this what was available to us. Finding clear cedar in our area, it's kind of an irony because it's plentiful, but it's very, very hard to find and it's very expensive. So a lot of commercial DIY or commercial cedar hot tubs are a 2x floor, 2x6, 2x4, or something like that. And depending on the manufacturer, some of them are finger jointed, tongue and groove jointed, some are just glued. We may go that direction. We're not sure. We want to try this first, and if it just doesn't work, we'll look at a different type of floor. And what we did was the exact same thing that we did for our staves. We purchased several sorts that had clear in them, and we cut the clear out of it. So this board looks really good. We won't be able to use this exact board, but you get the idea. This board had knots and blemishes and other things in it, and you can see that this is nice clear wood. We didn't really desire to use the V-groove, but it was what was available to us, and we'll make it work. Tongue and groove, obviously, because the boards will make a nice tight fit. And once we glue those joints and put everything together, it should be good and waterproof. We did do a little bit of testing, and it is plenty strong enough for the floor. So let's take a look at our floor and how we're assembling that and how we're going to make the cut. We're using a 4x4 cedar brace like a joist below the floor to support it. So we actually have two 5-foots. This is a 5-foot tub. And then below here where you cannot see is a set of 3-footers, one on each side. And we laid them out equidistant apart. And so what we've done is we've laid this tongue and groove out because we've got a lot of different blemishes in the boards. We've laid it out so that we'll end up cutting all of the blemishes out of each of the boards while keeping the floor completely clear. That said, we don't want to just simply make willy-nilly cuts. So what we've done is we've tried to maximize the amount of wood that's left over after we cut. So for example, some of these clear boards, we may be able to get a second clear board out of there. So if something were to get damaged in the assembly process, we'd have another board. Whereas if you just lay them out and cut them, you'll kind of get a lot of random scraps. So next, we're going to use a small guide here, and we're going to mark a 5-foot circle with a pencil. And then we'll go ahead and make that cut with a jigsaw. And then after we're done with the cutting process, we're going to go ahead and glue these boards together. For a scribe, I've simply attached a carpenter pencil to the end of this load sticker. And then I measured and I placed a screw at 2.5 feet. Very primitive, but it should get us a nice perfect circle. All right, we've got our circle all marked out. And before we started cutting, we wanted to make sure that we could actually get a magic number of staves. So I'll have Alyssa zoom in a little bit and I'll just briefly touch on, before we cut the floor out, how we came to the conclusion that there's a magic number on the depth of the groove that we're going to cut in the staves to make sure we can get to a perfect number. Because the staves are actually going to be penetrating this floor, the inside circle that is formed by the staves is actually going to be smaller than the floor. And we'll talk about this a little bit when we talk a little bit about more joinery and the depth of the groove to cut. So we did a few math equations here just to come up with the number of staves that we would need to perfectly wrap a specific size floor. With a 5-foot floor, if we were to cut a 11/16" deep groove in each stave, that would give us 64.02 staves. That's the magic number. But you can see that if we were to cut, say, a 3/8" stave, we'd end up with a half a stave, which would be no good. So we just wanted to share that with you. Do your math over and over and over and find out the magic number. Otherwise, you'll end up with a half and you'll be up a creek. All right, let's get this floor cut out. We're going to use our jigsaw to do that. We've got a ratchet strap holding everything together. Here we go.
our floor has been sitting for 24 hours. It looks like it's going to be a mess to take apart. Let's clean up our mess.
We survived our mess. Turns out wood glue expands a lot. Who knew? Anyway, we used a shaper, got it all tidied up. The floor is looking great. So we're ready to move on to putting the staves together and assembling the tub. If you enjoyed this video and you want to learn more about our off-grid DIY Cedar hot tub project, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll put a subscribe button right here. Also, learn more about our off-grid homesteading journey by following us on our blog. It's purelivingforlife.com. We also have a Facebook and an Instagram if you enjoy those. We'll put links to all that fun stuff in the description below, and we'll see you in the next video.